Chapter 6. Lost in a Closet. Days went by and both Steph and Tom stayed at my house. After 3 weeks of Tom and Steph staying at my house, Tom's parents died. Steph's parents got sick. According to my father, the sickness has reached a level of severity. He will not let us leave the house unless it's in the backyard. Steph, Tom, Frog, Sally, and I pass the days through playing. We do not mention the truth to one another, because we will not believe Tom and Steph's parents have abandoned them. Over the past few weeks, knowing the present reality, both Tom and Steph sort of lost touch with reality. I did not need to ignore the truth because in my world everything was about the same except my dad and I do not spend as much time together. He's usually watching the news. My mom does not act the way she did a year ago. She's constantly cleaning the house, continuously wiping everything down. My dad will not open the window in fear the virus could be in the air. My parents told both Steph and Tom that they could permanently move in due to their parents' hardship, that they would over the years buy them new material possessions. My dad already promised Tom, and they both decided for Tom to stay with us until he's 18. Not long after, Steph's parents also passed, leaving Steph with the same clothes she had on the last time her father dropped her off. My mother and father did the same thing with her as they did with Tom. They agreed to let her live in our mansion until she was 18, promising to buy her all new material possessions. Our family grew, and my parents appeared to have 5 children: Frog, Sally, Steph, Tom, and me. Because the situation was so odd, because the schools were permanently closed, the 5 of us stuck together, playing all day long. My dad and mom rarely noticed us. They were so tied up in civilization ending that they could not focus on the structured system that was handed to them, so they let us do whatever we wanted. What to do today, Tom says as us children gathered in the kitchen. Most of the time in the morning we would happen to get up at the same time. I began to think of stuff we could do as I poured myself a big bowl of cereal. Tree forts have not seen us in a while, I say. It's cold out, chill. It's November, Steph adds. Maybe we should add more to them so that they are warm on the inside. How are we going to do that, I ask. Tom did not have an answer. He gives an idea. Leaves. What if we insulate them with leaves? Steph says if we use leaves, we will not be sure if another critter's in there with us. True, Tom says. Maybe I could run over to my parents' house and grab some of their stuff, like insulation, Tom says. That might be a good idea, Tom, I say. It's only a 15-minute walk, Tom says. If you grab their stuff, how are you going to carry it all back, Steph asks. Well, Tom pauses a moment, figuring out the rest of the plan. We do not need all that much stuff. Blocks of heavy-duty plastic, some foam insulation. Tom pauses again. You 2 plus Frog and Sally will have to go over with me. I say my parents are not going to let us go with you. If we do not bring Frog or Sally, we simply do not tell them, Tom answered. If we're going, we better go now. Mom and Dad are usually off doing their thing right around this time. Most likely have a couple of hours before they figure it out. We're gone, I say. Steph adds, that gives us about 1 hour. We scramble to dress and quietly make our way to the back door, mentioning to Frog and Sally we would be at our tree forts, hoping that they would not come looking for us. Most likely they will not. They are slow to wake up in the morning. We dart into the woods. By taking the woods, the neighbors will not see us, I directed. Within 15 minutes we reach Tom's house. Surprisingly, we find his garage door open. Tom mentioned beforehand they were closed. We sneak into the garage. Once inside, Tom directs us to listen to the happenings of the inside of the house. The television was still on, and it sounded like someone was in there. Tom, I whisper, it sounds like your parents are in there. We ignore the sounds. Tom rushes to gather the supplies. I walk over to the window and the door separating the garage from the living room. I peek inside. To my surprise, I see the electronics being moved, as if someone was using them. Tom, I whisper. Surprisingly, the vacuum turns on inside the house. Joe, grab some of this stuff. We need to get out of here. I rush over and grab the box of plastic. Tom grabs the insulation. Steph grabs a giant staple gun and a tub of nails. We rushed out back into the forest. That was odd, Steph began saying. The television was still on. Could almost feel your parents still living there. Steph, the strange part is, this does not look the same, Tom says. What? The forest. I can't remember the forest. The plants do not look the same. It's too dark out here to tell, I answer. But it is not for me. I always come back here, because the gas station is just over the hill. But where are the lights to the store? We must go back, I'm serious. Jill, this is not the same forest. Okay, but we have to hurry. My parents will notice we're missing any time now, I answer. We rush back to Tom's house. Once we reach his backyard, dimly lit by his kitchen light, we hear a sound in the forest. The same sound I heard when I was in the tomato patches. I look at Tom. That's the sound I heard the other night. The other night when we were in the closet, when I told you that I was translated into another world. Steph begins to move toward the sound, being drawn to it. Steph, don't go towards the sound, I say. Steph ignores me. Grab Steph. We'll run into the house, Tom says. Grab Steph by the arm and pull her into the same direction Tom began running in. Steph comes to her senses following Tom and me. We rush into the garage. Tom begins to shut the door. We stop making noises and listen in silence. Steph looks to the right out the window, looks back at me and begins tapping at my shoulder. I look toward where she's pointing. I gasp. A lady's in the window. Who could it be? I know it's that lady from the photo I found. She places both hands on the window, making a bang sound against the glass. We scream, we run. Tom bursts through the door leading from the garage to his parents' living room. He slams shut the door behind us. Tom says, follow me, as he leads us towards his bedroom. We got to his room. I shut the door as Tom makes his way to his heavy dresser. Steph, help me move this against the door, Tom says, pointing to the dresser. Steph rushes to the dresser. Together they both slowly walk the dresser to the front of the bedroom door. Tom pushes it face down in front of his bedroom door, then rushes to his freshly made bed and picks it up. Blankets and bed sheets fall off as he places it at one and only bedroom window. Tom sits down, catching his breath. Steph and I do likewise. Within 15 minutes we hear the living room entrance door open. Soft, gentle footsteps gracefully walk up the stairs leading to Tom's bedroom. Soft singing and soft words could be heard, words that chilled us to the core of our being. It was as if I could remember her tormenting us, but I cannot pinpoint to when. Quietly we sat, crouched down in Tom's bedroom. Small taps on the bedroom door. A small whisper comes to the door. Let me in, kids, I want to make friends. Tap, tap on the bedroom door. A baby begins to laugh out in the darkness of the hallway. Chills run up my spine. My heart freezes in my chest. If you don't want to open the door for me, open the door for the baby. Tom and your parents out here. They would want you to come out and protect your house. Leave, lady, leave, Tom commands. You kids are not supposed to be here, the woman replies. Come out here. Maybe I can spare you the trouble, the woman outside of the bedroom door says. This place looks real, does it not, Jill? Open your eyes. I bet you do not know how much control I have over you, the strange-sounding lady says. I sat thinking about her words for a moment. I look at Tom and say, we're daydreaming. We're still in the closet. I reach over and grab Tom by the shoulder. As I reach over my body within the closet at my parents' house, my arm is doing the same thing. Now being in two places at once. Tom, Steph, and I both awake in the closet, letting go of the world we were just in. Steph, I say. She quickly picks her head up from the blanket that was covering it. You two were there, I asked. Yes, Jill, I could have almost guaranteed that place existed. We never awoke, Steph adds. I'm hungry, let's go get something to eat, I say. We rush into the kitchen in the same fashion we did just hours prior before we thought to walk to Tom's house. We begin preparing the same food as we thought we had eaten. Tom, do you still want to go over to your parents' house to get material for the tree forts? I asked, sort of joking. Yeah, sure, that's if that strange lady's not over there, Tom says as we begin laughing. Steph, you do remember, I ask. Yeah, she paused for a moment. That was a dream. You had mentioned something in the dream that's if you were dreaming about going to a strange world, Steph says cautiously. Well, I do not want to get so deep that we believe it, I pause and whisper. We could be there right now. Steph says, I'm still cautious about the people living, but not living in their houses. We should get our mind off this house and spy on the neighbors. Good idea, Tom says. I need to know what killed my parents or if they're even dead. What if it's all a lie? My parents said something about a huge cover-up, Tom says, anticipating the biggest reveal of his life. But what if we get caught, I ask. We already are caught, if you think hard about last night, Tom says. True, Jill, that was not normal. Everybody taught me these type things does not happen, Steph says, pointing up towards my closet. So we will explore, same idea I said as in the dream. My parents are busy, but we have a couple hours to pretend we're working on a tree forts, I expressed. Do not tell Frog or Sally. We quickly got something to eat and told my mom we're going to play out by the tree forts. We rushed out the back door. We take the back way into the woods and begin to snoop on the properties. First window we peek into, lights were on and food was prepared, but no people. Something appeared to be happening with the second and third houses we arrived at. Want to rush over to my parents' house, Tom explains. We're going with you, Steph says. We quickly run through the woods and arrive at Tom's parents' house. Tom had the key, so we went inside. Everything about the house was so strange. Televisions, radios, and lights were still on. Fresh food was prepared on the table. This is so strange, Tom says. Let's grab some stuff for a tree forts. Just so if we get caught, we appear to have another reason. We rush into the garage and grab the same items we grabbed the first time. Funny, I say. The items are in the same spot as they were the first time we came over here. Yeah, that's strange, Tom adds. We rush into the woods hoping we would find the same woods, the woods Tom remembers. We run through the woods, never saying a word to one another. We arrive at the back of my house, next to our tree forts. We place the items on the ground. We made it, Tom says, full of relief. I'll go get Frog and Sally. They'll love to make more of our tree forts. Our winter tree forts, I say. Frog and Sally both come rushing into the backyard forest. I could see Mom was up. She bundled both children up heavily in heavy-duty winter gear, ski pants, boots, and a heavy jacket. What are we doing? Sally asked, looking up at my face. We want to make the tree forts weatherized so we can play in them in the winter. Once it starts snowing, I answer. As Frog is climbing up the ladder with a sense of leadership, he says, Hand me up the plastic. We spent the rest of the day at the forts. Steph, Tom, and I did not say anything to one another about the dream last night. We were hoping not to wake up while playing with Frog and Sally. Glad to enter my warm house after the day in the cold, I take off my winter jacket, excited to run up to my room. I had much daily to do in my room, writing, coloring, dressing my dolls, and now talking with Steph and Tom. As I entered my room, I turned around expecting to find Tom and Steph, but instead, Frog and Sally come rushing into the room. Can we hang out in your room tonight? They both ask. Shortly after, Tom and Steph enter the room. I look at Frog and then at Sally. Yeah, sure, you both can hang out with us tonight. I begin to think. I wanted the moment to talk to Steph and Tom about our experience in the closet. Wonder if Frog or Sally have any strange occurrences. Frog, I begin saying, do you remember the day we were in our father's library and you mentioned something about the lady who climbs up your window at night? Yes, Frog says. She usually wants me to let her in. The other night I almost did. What happened? Steph asks. Well, she jumped or flew off the window as I began to open it. I suppose she had other businesses she had to attend to. But, Frog adds, she had said something stranger than the previous nights, that she was a friend. That's why I began to open up the window, because I was no longer scared of her. Sally mentions, if that's the same lady, she sure is scary. Over the past couple of weeks, I've seen her out my window. I don't want to tell anyone this because confusing her makes me feel stupid. Confessing her makes me feel stupid. What does she do out there? Steph asks. She walks around the backyard scaring me. Face is white, and her eyes are black as nothing. That's the scariest part, her eyes. I was hoping when I look at her she does not notice me, to look back at me with those eyes. Black eyes, stuck inside of her white face. She eats, causing me fear. Sometimes she makes sounds without making sounds, Sally says, crouching down and stabilizing her mind. She's a very scary lady, Frog adds. Sally, can you take us to your room and show us where you see her? Steph asks. Sally gets up off the floor and leads us into her room. 3 rooms down, and Sally points into her room toward the back window. Steph leads the way over. I don't see anyone over there right now, Steph says. Steph turns around to face Sally. Suddenly, I gasp. I point my finger outside the window. Steph, look. Steph comfortably turns around. Oh my goodness, Steph says with horror in her voice. There's a woman out there. Steph was too scared to look. She turned her head. My eyes were fixed on her. That's the lady in the photo, I say as I begin hearing the soft music in the wind as I watched her hair blowing with the sound. She appears as if she has welcomed me into a private world, a lovely world. I wish I could live with her. Steph and Sally began screaming. Hey, you two, why are you screaming? I ask. Frog is pulled toward the window. She appears the way she did the other night. She's being nice to us, Frog says. The girls calm down. Tom looks and says maybe she's one of her neighbors, although she doesn't look like the lady that was in my house the other night. Do you all want to go out, I ask? No, Sally says. I'm going out, I say. I'll go out with you, Joe, Frog says. Yes, I will too, Tom says. We in a rush got down the stairs, hoping that she would not leave. Frog and Sally stayed at the back door, leaving the door open. Hello, I say to the lady. She does not look up at us. She just stands there with her head down. Hi, do you live around here? Tom asks. Maybe we should not bother her, Frog says, changing his mind about going to meet her. My younger brother says that you occasionally come out here and look into his bedroom window, I say. The lady looks up. Black, dark eyes investigate mine. Her dark, black hair described her hidden world of a great being like that of a king or a queen, a ruler of many. If you do not make it any less wonderful out here, you just might get lost out here, the lady says. But you can't not stay here, the lady says, giving a girlish giggle. Could not take my eyes off her. I was in love. The entire environment was all that I could think I was living for, but I feared it was a worm on a hook or peanut butter on a mousetrap. Overtaken by the atmosphere, I say, well, I will. I'll come back. I'll tie a rope around me so I do not get lost, and Gonzo will not eat me. You mean Clutter, the critter, will not eat you. He eats tomatoes, the lady says. Darling, our rope is out here. It's in the buried trash. If you or your friends come out and you get lost, follow the trash home, the dark-eyed lady adds. Okay, nice meeting you, I say, still entranced by the atmosphere around her, and begin walking toward the back door. See that, Frog? She seems like a nice lady, I say, walking toward the back door. Who was it? Steph asked, standing in the entrance of the door. Good question, Steph. Good question, I say.